This last week, I've been playing in a fully modded WCS server in the 1.3 experimental branch of the game, and man, it's been so much fun. It's got me more pumped for the 1.3 update than I already was. The WCS staff put an announcement on their Discord saying they put up an EU and an NA server in 1.3 experimental, testing not only the new additions being added by Bohemia Interactive, but also plenty of new mod updates from Reforger's amazing modding community. Loads of new weapons and remastered existing weapons. They've brought in weapons such as the G28 Marksman Rifle, the Mark 18 Marksman Rifle, the MPX SMG, L85 Assault Rifle, the Vityaz PP19, B13 rails for the vanilla AK-74, the VSK-94, and the PKP LMG. And behind callable supply crates, the M200 Intervention Sniper Rifle. And tons of new toys for the more vehicular-based players, with the latest and greatest mod update for the Apache, supply variants of the Little Bird and Mi-24, and the reintroduction with several new variants of the JLTV. This is really just skimming the surface of mod updates coming with this game version, and jumping in these servers and testing over the last few days has been a ton of fun. Messing around with mortars has been a blast and a real highlight of 1.3. Learning, practicing, and teaching other players how to range and get the required values for accurate shots has been sick. When you have somebody on the other end reconning, letting you know if your shots are accurate is such a rewarding and satisfying experience. In our case, it was immediately obvious to run a mortar emplacement at one of the map's regenerating supply points for the endless flow of free mortars. But they became contested and required building up to become a secure point to defend. We then became a target to other mortar crews on the other team from another supply point, which was really funny. So we had to rethink our position, have an educated guess where the enemy was firing from, and counter mortar them right back, giving each other trash talk in the chat every time we were landing good mortar shots. I don't think people need to worry too much about mortars leveling the map like they were first thinking. From the experience so far in a modded server, it was definitely vehicle explosions and attack helis doing the main damage to buildings. The sheer amount of supplies and teamwork needed for effective mortars make it much harder to level a whole compound, rather than targeting key defensive buildings. Another fun indirect gameplay loop that comes from mortars is working recon for them. Me and Azzy spent 45 minutes simply following enemy mortar crews. They were actively repositioning, trying to catch us, but we were just sitting a few hundred meters out, marking as accurately as possible on the map where they were setting up, allowing our mortar teams to counter fire at them. We didn't fire a shot for 45 minutes, but it was a surprising amount of fun. The Apache mod is incredibly detailed. The sound of this thing in the distance is pure terrifying. The ambient cabin lighting really makes you feel immersed. The pilot has working MFDs, including one showing a real-time view of the gunner's perspective, an MFD that shows the amount of flares remaining, an amazing technology with a heads-up display that's attached to your pilot's view so you can turn your head and the vehicle signatures within range will be marked. And then there's automatic flare deployment just to top it all off. Of course, being the experimental version of the game comes with some bugs and instability. A particular one around building destruction was problematic. The shaking from a building collapsing would persist sometimes for like 10 minutes after the initial collapse of a building, leading to unbearably and unplayably bad screen shaking. I found myself driving onto a point at this quarry and simply having to get somebody else to drive me out as I couldn't see anything. But because they had spawned in after the building went down, they were not experiencing the shaking. Tree destruction, on the other hand, has been an incredibly nice feature for supply running and driving armoured vehicles. It's never been easier to get through those tree lines to get to your destination. Certain tree sizes will still be deadly to hit, so you learn to pick out which trees you can plow through. Moving around the map in this Bradley was a lot more fun than it used to be, as we could stay away from the main roads and infantry routes, much easier to avoid being hit by anti-tank soldiers all over the place. I can't wait to have the terrifying scenes of seeing enemy armor burst through a tree line that you couldn't see through before, smashing through trees and catching your squad by surprise. It's going to be so good. The new base capture system in 1.3 that doesn't allow spawning on a base that's being captured is showing glimpses of promise. Unfortunately, we didn't get that much more than like 40 players in a game, and with many people like simply testing new weapons and things in their main bases, we haven't had the hugest of infantry assaults yet. But moments like this, where a small squad of us were attacking this industrial park that's been built up with defenses, after fighting for a while, we got a brief moment where we were capturing the point. With 2 of us alive, that meant there was only 1 defender left. With the knowledge that the enemy couldn't spawn here during this time, it was really exciting, and it created an intense moment for both teams. It encouraged us to like really push the center of the objective and flush out the remaining defenders so we could use their defenses against incoming reinforcements. And for the defender, they knew they were the last line of defense and they had to play really smart and accurate to take us out or hold on long enough until their teammates could bring in a new wave of reinforcements with like vehicles and more infantry. Playing on this has got me so excited for the 1.3 release. I'll probably be playing in here more over the weekend, so if you want to get in on this, download the experimental version of the game and hop in. So that you don't have to overwrite any mods in the live version of the game, on Steam you can enable this launch option to create a separate mod folder for experimental. You just have to go to your Steam library, open the properties, and then type this exactly into your launch options. But that's all for me today. I just wanted to show you guys how sick modded servers in 1.3 has been so far, and I'm really excited to jump into live. So if you want to come play this weekend, more than welcome. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you in the field.